Welcome to KOIN Conversations. I'm Chief Meteorologist Josh Cozart, and this is an active time of year, not only for the entirety of the Pacific Northwest, but specifically for the coastline. We see these strong fall, winter storms roll their way in from the Pacific, and they've been just kind of building out freely over the ocean waters. Nothing to disturb them until they make landfall. And it just so happens that the Oregon coast is one of the spots that they make a big impact when they are making landfall here across our region. So we're kind of the first line of defense as we prepare ourselves for this, what typically is a stormy season for us. We don't have that high pressure system overhead like we are familiar with during the summer season, although the active ocean waters are still a possibility year round. We just really start to see some of those terms be thrown around. We're talking about king tides and sneaker waves and all of the other dangers, but also exciting conditions that we get to experience right here along the Oregon coast. So I want to go ahead and bring in Janice Longlinay, and she is the director of the Oregon Adventure Coast. And I would like to just bring in Janice right now. Janice, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Josh. Thank you so much for having me.
Tell me, what do you do on a daily basis? How do you prepare folks for images like we're seeing right behind you?
Right. So we are what we call a destination marketing organization, Oregon's Adventure Coast, also the Visitor and Convention Bureau here in Coos Bay, North Bend, and Charleston. So our job is not only to inform potential visitors about all the wonderful things to see and do, but how to stay safe when they are here, especially at this time of year. So this photograph behind me is what we consider a high surf event. This is when you have those big storms off the Pacific Ocean and they are just barreling towards the coast and they hit our immovable cliff faces, and there it is. This big wave has nowhere else to go but up. So you can see some of these photos are some of my absolute favorites. The one behind me had a row of photographers standing this is all taken at Shore Acres State Park, which is down here by Charleston, which is right outside of Coos Bay. And as you can see, people love to stand there and watch these waves hit the ocean cliffs or the cliffs of our shoreline. And there are very dramatic videos, very dramatic photographs that are taken all year round or in the wintertime because of this. But like you said, some of these waves can hit all year round.
And I mean, this is just impressive for someone like myself who is not originally from the Pacific Northwest. I'd never been to the West Coast before. And when I moved out here, gosh, almost 7 years ago now, I had no idea that this was such an attraction for people, and it's obvious as to why, but there's also a lot of kind of hidden dangers. What is your guys' way of making sure that everybody can enjoy these sites, but also stay safe as well?
Indeed, safety is priority for us. So the minute we get a high surf warning or advisory from the National Weather Service, we immediately put out a notice on our Facebook page. But the one thing we say in every post, never turn your back on the ocean. Always be wave aware. Know where the waves are coming, because like you have on this graphic, sneaker waves are a thing. They're unpredictable. The water just keeps on coming. And we've seen lots of tragedies happen along this coast because of it. So we want people to be aware. We want them to stay off the rocks, the jetties, the logs. In fact, it's almost best just not to go to the beach. These low-lying areas are very dangerous and they can be hazardous. If you want to see these kinds of waves or all of this action that happens in the ocean, one of the best places to do that is at Shore Acres State Park. It's on a cliff that is 80 feet above ocean level, so you're high up on above what is happening. There is an observation building there at Shore Acres. You can't see it from these videos, but because people really do like to stand there at the wall and watch these waves hit. But there is an observation building that people can stand in if they want to feel even safer. Plus, if it's raining or it's one of those iffy kind of weather days, you're out of the elements. So it's important to be safe while enjoying this spectacular activity.
Eh,
When you're, yeah, go
no,
ahead.
no, please go ahead. Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, when you're standing there on the wall at Shore Acres, you can actually feel when a big wave is going to hit in your chest because it's roaring towards, and you can just tell that this is going to be a big wave. It's pretty incredible.
So I know we've kind of talked about a lot of different terms, sneaker waves. We've got high surf advisories, high surf warnings. We have the king tides. There's a big difference when people are trying to kind of plan what's ahead. Can you talk to me a little bit about maybe the difference between the king tides, but then also the high surf advisories when people are trying to kind of plan what's ahead?
Right. So the issue is king tides are predictable. We know when they're going to happen. Unfortunately, storms or high surf events are unpredictable. We only get a couple of days notice on high surf warnings or advisories. So a king tide just means that the tide is going to be extremely high or extremely low. So the most water is going to be in our estuary or in the bay. It causes low-lying flooding. It is just a big high tide. It does not cause these wave crashes. You have to have some energy in the ocean pushing towards shore to make those wave crashes happen. So that is the difference. One is very predictable. So people are like, oh, I'm going to go to the coast during king tides and see these big wave crashes. Unfortunately, that is a very rare occurrence. We actually had one last week. It was the fifth one in 8 years.
Wow.
Now, there are 3 to 4 king tides a year. Sometimes February has some, sometimes they don't. In 8 years, we've had 5 occurrences. Out of 40 potential king tides, we have had 5 occurrences where the high surf coincided with a king tide. And it's very spectacular. But for the most part, when you come to a king tide or look to come see king tides, you're going to see a very flat ocean. And it's very disappointing for people because they thought they were coming to see what's behind my head. And that is not what they see. We spend a lot of time explaining the difference to people. What they want to look for is high surf. So swells of 18 to 30 feet that are going to hit the Oregon coast. They want to, in fact, follow our Oregon's Adventure Coast Facebook page because we put it out the minute that the National Weather Service announces a high surf for the southern Oregon coast. Now, we are a little bit removed from Portland, so it does take 4 hours to get here, but it is well worth it. If you have the opportunity to come down to see a high surf event, then I would highly recommend it.
And I got to say, I lived in Eugene for about 5 years or so and had the opportunity to go down to the Coos Bay area to see Shore Acres Park. Unfortunately, I was there in an event where it was, well, I guess fortunate too because it was beautiful regardless, but it was sunny, it was nice out. And it really was just a truly spectacular sight. Not only, although I missed out on those huge waves and them crashing up against the shoreline, but just even the landscape itself was just so spectacular. And you guys got a lot of great vantage points from there too that, again, as you mentioned, are kind of safe spots for people to be able to see it, whether it be sunny or also the high surf.
Yes, indeed. And we have had high surf events that happen during sunny days. So it can happen. So it's not always going to be that it's still storming on shore because the storms that produce those waves is way out in the Pacific. Sometimes they don't make it all the way to shore, but the waves do. But truly, our coastline, our extremely rugged part of the coast is stunningly beautiful. It is an opportunity to see nature at its absolute finest. And because we are so far from what we consider the population centers of our state, so we're 4 hours from Portland, we're 3 hours from Salem, we're 2 hours from Eugene, we're 3 hours from Medford. So it takes an extra effort to come here. We realize that, but the payoff is so incredible. I mean, aside from our beautiful state parks, which we have 3 in a row, all on the cliff, overlooking the ocean. We have mountain biking, we have kayaking, we have a beautiful estuary here that you can go kayaking in or you can go hiking in. We have waterfalls, we have fishing and crabbing and clamming. So there's a lot to do when you come this far south. It's fun to explore. We have beautiful miles and miles of beaches that have hardly anybody on them. So if you think about the times you've gone up to Cannon Beach or Astoria, not that I have anything against our beautiful beaches on the central and north coast, ours are less visited, so there's less people on those beaches at the same time. So it's an opportunity to almost have a beach all to yourself on occasion.
And I got to say, when I was there, I think maybe I saw one other person briefly, and then that was it. So it was definitely kind of that moment of zen for myself. But can you also talk about your guys' tourist season? Because, yes, a lot of people maybe think that, if they're not from here, they say, I'm going to go to the beach. But talk to me about, this is kind of a year-long event. We do talk a lot more about the king tides during the winter season, but just kind of explain year-round.
Sure. Yes. So we are a year-round destination. So at this time of year, of course, we call this the shoulder or getting into off-season. There is still a lot of things to see and do here. Of course, aside from these big wave crashes, Christmas time, we have Holiday Lights at Shore Acres, which is one of our biggest events of the year. For 39 nights between Thanksgiving and New Year's Eve, the park. So for people who've never been to Shore Acres, this used to be a land baron's or a lumber baron's home. He gave it to the state parks after the home burned down. So there was a big home on those cliffs. I mean, they must have had an amazing view of the ocean.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But they also have, in the middle of this, on the cliff, in a forest, is a beautiful botanical gardens. 7 acres of botanical gardens that during the spring, summer, early fall are blooming with beautiful flowers, roses, rhododendrons, all of this. At Christmas time, we light it up with 325,000 Christmas lights. Animated sculptures. It's a magical time to be on the Oregon coast. So we promote that for the winter. And then festivals, we have festivals all year round. We have events all year round. On the southern Oregon coast, you can mountain bike all year round. We have one of the top mountain bike trails, Whiskey Run Mountain Bike Trails, is between us and Bandon, which is just south of us. And it's a loamy soil, which absorbs a lot of the rain. Of course, it can get muddy, but for the most part, you can ride that mountain bike trail all year round.
I got to say, too, that heading out there, you can really make a full weekend event of this. There is so much to see. So although it might take you several hours from, say, Portland to get down to you guys, you can make a full weekend of it. Can you maybe talk?
Even a week. There's enough to do on the southern Oregon coast. You could come for your entire weekly vacation, unpack once, and see so much. All over the Coos Bay, North Bend, Charleston area, down to Bandon, up to Reedsport, inland to our waterfalls. I mean, there is a lot to see and do on the southern Oregon coast, and it is well worth that extra couple of hours to come down a little bit further on the coast, because sometimes you'll be the only one on a trail, or you'll be the only one on a beach, or the only one kayaking in the bay. So it's really an opportunity for people to see a part of the Oregon coast that they may never have seen before. It's dramatic, it's rugged, it's, like you said earlier, zen-like. You can stand in a coastal forest and just breathe. Mm-hmm. And rest and take your shoes off and put your feet on the ground and really get recharged here. We love it here.
And I feel like a lot of people are in search of that this day and age, just to kind of step away from, I call it the rat race of life.
And the craziness that's happening right now, right?
Yes. We all just need a break, and what better place than the southern Oregon coast, or really any of our shoreline is just a great opportunity. And again, I want people to really kind of remember that you got to plan out these trips in not only the weather aspect, but also with the storms that roll through. So if you're wanting to see sites like what we're seeing right now on our screen, that, again, is going to be those high surf advisories or warnings. If they coincide, happen at the same time as the king tides, that's even better, but that chance is extremely low. So when people are scheduling their trips, they want to make sure that they are looking for the high surf advisories or warnings to be able to see sites like this, because we want to keep everybody happy when they travel all that way and get down there.
Right. Not only happy, but happy and safe. So
Happy.
We want everybody to be safe when they're on our cliffs. You know, we see people taking selfies all the time, and it's like, you know, you can stand about 10 feet away from the edge and still really get a really good selfie. You don't have to be right there on the edge.
Yes, and I do want to also mention, too, I think that people sometimes are a little, I don't know, maybe let their guard down when it is a beautiful sunny day. I know a lot of people try to escape Portland when it's really cold in the winter and it's sunny along the coast, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the ocean isn't going to be unpredictable.
Correct. Yes. And at this time of year, we have more instances of sneaker waves or just an angry sea that can erupt at any moment. Not only here, but up around Thor's Well and other places, Depot Bay. So it's just a really good remembrance to always be aware of what's happening on the ocean and never turn your back on it.
And that is just such sound advice. And also, keeping that safe distance is a must. I know it can be sometimes enticing for people to say, oh, let me get close, let me feel the water. This is kind of a shoreline that it's not like Florida.
No. Oh, definitely not. It is not tame. It is the Pacific is probably the wildest of our oceans, and it can be just a majestic, amazing thing, but it can also be really dangerous.
It definitely can, but we're excited that people have this in our backyard here in the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, indeed.
It's so easy for us to access, and I mean, just even a weekend or a week trip away out of the city to the coast, that's prime time. But Janice, thank you so much for taking the time to share not only these incredible videos and images with us. It never gets boring, and I'm sure that goes the same for you.
It never gets old. I tell my friends I came from a different state that doesn't have this kind of beautiful, dramatic things. I tell them I found heaven on earth down here on the southern Oregon coast. So.
Heaven on earth, indeed. Janice, thank you so much for clearing up a lot of terminology for us here, especially as the stormy winter season gets underway. But again, you can head down to the southern Oregon coast. Oregon's Adventure Coast on Facebook is where you guys are going to post everything, right?
That's correct. Oregon's Adventure Coast and Oregon'sAdventureCoast.com. But for high surf advisories or warnings, you want to be on our Facebook page.
Perfect. We will look for the fun activities ahead this winter season there. Janice, again, thank you so much, and have a fantastic winter season with a lot of great sights ahead.
Thank you, Josh. I really appreciate being here and talking to all your viewers. Thanks so much.
We'll see you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.